It was Aristotle who once said, "We are what we repeatedly do." And so with that in mind, in today's session, I want to be talking about how you can form new habits to your advantage. Hi, my name is Tabirade, coach and mentor, and I help self-starters and ambitious millennials align more to their higher core values in order for them to have more happier moments. Now, how long do you think it takes to form a habit? 21 days, 90 days, 365 days? Now, in the study modeling habit formation in the real world, it states that it takes anywhere between 18 days to 254 days in order to form a new habit. But on average, it takes most people 66 days. Now, that doesn't mean to say that you should be thinking about 66 days time later that you're going to be able to form a new habit. It should be no matter what it takes. That's what it should be. If you're truly aligned or passionate about something, don't be thinking necessarily about how long it should take in order for you to actually achieve or form that new habit. Now, habits are formed from a collection of our experiences, and they are heavily dependent on things known as scripts in psychology. So with that in mind, as stated before, Aristotle stated that we are what we repeatedly do. In the fantastic book, The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg, he talks about a 2006 study that talks about the actions that we do day to day are actually heavily attributed to habits. So in other words, 40% of the things that we do are habits as opposed to decisions. So really, habits have a huge influence in terms of what we actually do, whether we realize it or not. With this in mind, it's really important to understand how habits work. Now again, understanding it from a biological and neurocognitive standpoint, it's important to understand that habits are being added to our neural network. So again, there are some really deep core habits that are part of our basal ganglia. And again, adding to our gray matter, there are different habits being formed all the time. And so based on new neural pathways, they hijack, so to speak, other habits that you may have had before. So understanding habits, when we're referring back to Charles Duhigg's book, he talks about cues, routines, and rewards. Sometimes with those rewards, they are based through cravings. And so when you crave sweets or chocolate or whatever it is that you're craving, you start to encourage and develop and deepen those craving neurological activities. So it's understanding this cue, routine, and reward in order for you to change how things work. And so you're creating something known as a habit loop. And so this is an opportunity to understand how this works, so again, you can overcome it. If you find this stuff really interesting, leave a comment below if you would like a review of The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg, because again, that book has completely transformed the way I think about things. Now, with this in mind, I couldn't really talk about the science of habit without really talking about some habits that I think may benefit you. So here's the first one. Number one, get into the habit of paying off your debts. You heard what I said. Get into the habit of paying off your debts. Now, I'm not assuming that you necessarily have debts, but I am assuming that some of you watching this do have debts. It may not necessarily be a debt, but it may be some sort of bad money activity that you do that is preventing you from growing wealth or being great. And so I remember when I was in a position where I had invested so much money into mentors and training and all these different things. I'd spent thousands, tens of thousands of pounds on all these, what they call now fake gurus, and realized that I was left with not much. So with that in mind, I had to be really disciplined with making sure that I was paying off this stuff and not ignoring it, acting as if nothing happened at all. So when I buckled down, I made sure that I focused on accelerating the payments in order to make sure that I could have more time to enjoy what I wanted to enjoy my money for. For many of us, we are denying the responsibilities of paying back our debts, and we could even be in a situation where we could pay them off even quicker if we looked at the numbers. So understand your interest rate, understand the rules and regulations with your bank, and also make sure that if you do have disposable income, pay it off, and think about ways in which you can accelerate payments so you can be freer. So the first habit is focus on paying off your debts quicker. Now, consequently, the second habit is focusing on saving. Now, obviously, if you've got debts to pay, saving may be a difficult thing, and you have to make a decision as to whether you do it simultaneously or you focus on paying off the debts. Personally, I like to pay off the debts first, and then I can start consolidating savings. But even with that in mind, it's also good to get into the habit of saving something, even if it's £1 every single day, week, month, I wouldn't necessarily say year, but I don't know your situation. Again, I just want to clarify, I'm not a financial advisor, so I'm not giving you financial advice in that sense. I'm just telling you the ideology and things to think about in terms of habits that you can start adopting. So think about what you want to save. Short-term things, long-term things, and also things that will help you generate wealth along the way. The third thing that I think you should consider is focusing on making sure you drink 8 cups of water a day. All I want to do is drink water, eat celery, and live my life. I say this because I'm shooting this right now during lockdown, okay? And this is a situation where I feel like water has been fundamental in terms of my mental health. And so when you drink water, it allows the blood flow to be much more fluid in your system. It improves your concentration, it cools you down. It allows all of these other stuff that are happening at the back of your system in order for your body to be functioning. And so think about drinking water and consciously put in mechanisms to enable you to do this. In the last video where I spoke about morning routine, I talked about how I make sure I fill up my bottle up to 2 liters. So the app that I actually use to remind me to drink water is Water Drink Reminder. How original. The fourth thing that I would highly recommend, if you're not doing this already obviously, is to make sure that you have some sort of to-do list, okay? As humans, we love to validate and verify that we've done something. As soon as you see that tick, wow, you just get excited. And so with that in mind, you want to really use that sort of understanding of how habits work to develop the cue, develop the routine, and get that reward or satisfaction of getting that tick. And so, like I stated before in my previous video, I spoke about using Trello in order to remind me of the tasks that I need to do every single day. So again, maybe you want to set up a Trello board and really make sure you have your to-do list in terms of what needs to be done today, and then focus on maybe having a bucket list and many other different columns that will help you be organized. Like I stated before, if you want to see this video on how I use my to-do list on Trello, leave a comment below. The fifth thing is making sure that you become comfortable with learning through reading. And I say this because the internet allows you to find out all this different information and get all these data and facts in X, Y, and Z, but an organized and consolidated set of information that is specific to a way of thinking, i.e. a book, is a great way to consolidate information. And so whenever you're trying to understand a new concept, especially at the beginning, I would definitely dive into a book and understand how the industry or how the author thinks if they're highly acclaimed, so you can develop your learning. Now, I'm not just saying that you need to read books. You can use the internet, you can use YouTube, you can get a mentor or trainer, whatever it is. But I think the focus in terms of this specific habit is getting into the habit of learning, okay? And books, reading books is a fantastic way to do it, whether you read it, listen to it, or watch it. So get used to actually learning so you can improve as an individual. The sixth thing that I'd like to talk about is reviewing your week. Now, the way I like to review my week is by looking at areas within my life and understanding how satisfied I am in those areas just by giving it a number out of 10, okay, 10 being the highest in terms of satisfaction and 1 being the lowest. And if anything is really bothering me, then I may write a few words here and there to really address those things and actually see how I improve in the following week. There are times where I may speak to my girlfriend or to my sister or to my accountability buddy in order to help me review my week as well. But usually I like to do this by myself initially. And then if I need additional sort of expertise or advice or insight, then I will consult other people as well. The seventh thing is making sure that I meet up with my accountability buddy. Shout out to my accountability buddy. Bam! Bam. That's so do you know what? I'm just gonna stop. So yeah, for me, I like to meet up with my accountability buddies. So for those of you who don't know what an accountability buddy is, that is somebody who is ambitious, objective, and really gonna make sure that you stick to doing what you said you're gonna do long after the feeling was gone in an organized and structured way. Okay, so I've been doing this for the past 3 years. I had an accountability buddy before. We kind of retired from each other and I chose someone who is much more aligned to my values, and we've been going solid and strong for a long time. Now, we're very good friends, and you know, your friends may not necessarily work for you, but may work for other people. And so think about who you want your accountability buddy to be if you don't have one already. So the way we do it is we meet up every single 2 weeks. And this may be virtually or face to face, or we may go for a walk and actually do the session. And then every other week, we just give each other a voice note and or text update as well. And again, if you're interested in understanding how the accountability stuff works, leave a comment below. And again, I can do a video on that. Or if you want to be in an exclusive sort of group, again, you can let me know. Remember, habits are an opportunity to make sure that you automatically do the things that you want to do. It's nature's way of being efficient for you, but sometimes we get hijacked based on our experiences that prevent us from being efficient and effective. So this is about human design, this is about life design, and this is about making sure that you have the right conditions in order for you to be effective. In the next video, I'm going to be talking about ways in order for you to stay productive so you can be more effective and efficient as a high performer and ambitious millennial. If you want to check out that video, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Understand, reach, and expand. Peace.